The day the aliens arrived was sunny and clear. People all over Earth looked up at the sky as the massive ships entered orbit. They were beautiful ships, smooth and silver, shaped like giant teardrops. There were 7 of them, each bigger than the largest aircraft carrier humans had ever built. News of the alien arrival spread fast. TV channels showed nothing else. Social media was filled with pictures and videos of the ships. Some people were scared and stayed inside their homes. Others went outside to look up at the sky. A few even threw parties to welcome the visitors from space. Commander Ethan Wright stood on the roof of the North American Defense Coalition headquarters, looking up through binoculars. He had been chosen as Earth's main representative to the aliens. He was nervous but tried not to show it. "Sir, they're sending down a shuttle," said his assistant, handing him a tablet. "They'll land at the agreed location in 30 minutes. Ethan nodded. He had been preparing for this moment for weeks, ever since the aliens had sent their first message. They called themselves the Ardelians, and they claimed to come in peace. But Ethan knew better than to take their word for it. "Let's go," he said. "I don't want to be late for humanity's first alien meet and greet." The landing area was a large, empty field outside the city. Soldiers had set up barriers around it, and important people from many countries waited behind them. Scientists, politicians, and military leaders all wanted to see the aliens first. Dr. Olivia Bennett checked her equipment one more time. As Earth's top expert on possible alien life, she had many questions ready. She had studied the messages from the Ardelians and had some ideas about what they might look like, but she couldn't be sure until she saw them. "Nervous?" asked her colleague. "Excited," Olivia replied. "We're about to meet beings from another star system. This changes everything we know about life in the universe." The alien shuttle was surprisingly quiet as it came down from the sky. It didn't look like human spacecraft. It had no visible engines and made almost no sound. It simply floated down and landed gently on the ground. Everyone fell silent. Even the birds seemed to stop singing. The shuttle door opened slowly and a ramp extended to the ground. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, figures appeared in the doorway. The Ardelians were tall and thin. They had 4 arms and walked on 2 legs. Their skin was pale blue and seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. They wore what looked like tight-fitting suits with many small devices attached. Their heads were larger than human heads, with large black eyes and small mouths. They had no visible ears or nose. 5 Ardelians walked down the ramp. The one in front wore a more decorated suit than the others. Ethan stepped forward, as planned. "On behalf of the people of Earth, I welcome you to our world. I am Commander Ethan Wright." The lead Ardelian made a gesture with its upper right hand. A small device on its chest lit up, and a voice came from it, speaking perfect English. "I'm High Commander Zixtara of the Ardelian Exploration Fleet. We thank you for your welcome." The alien's voice sounded slightly mechanical through the translator. Ethan noticed that the aliens moved carefully, almost hesitantly. They looked around constantly, as if checking for danger. The formal greeting ceremony went as planned. Speeches were made, gifts were exchanged, and photographers took thousands of pictures. The aliens were polite but seemed eager to move on to the meeting room that had been prepared. Inside the building, Olivia noticed something strange. The aliens kept adjusting their suits. One of them pressed buttons on a wrist device every few minutes. Another seemed to be breathing faster than when they first arrived. "Are you comfortable?" she asked Zixtara. "We can adjust the temperature or lighting if needed." "We are adapting," the alien replied. "Your atmosphere is different from ours, but our suits compensate. Please continue." During the scientific discussion, Olivia watched the aliens closely. They talked about their homeworld, their technology, and their interest in establishing relations with Earth. They said they had visited many planets and met many species, but something wasn't right. One of the junior Ardelian diplomats, who had been introduced as Kravdul, was blinking rapidly. His skin seemed to be changing color, becoming darker blue. His breathing was getting faster. Halfway through a presentation about Earth's ecosystems, Kravdul suddenly stood up, swayed on his feet, and collapsed to the floor. The other Ardelians rushed to him. They spoke quickly in their own language. Their translator devices turned off. They pulled devices from their suits and pressed them against the fallen alien's chest and head. Olivia moved forward. "I'm a doctor. Can I help?" "No," Zixtara said, sharply. "Do not approach. Our biology is indifferent. We will handle this." The Ardelians took Kravdul back to their shuttle. They said he would recover but needed treatment on their ship. The meetings continued, but with one less alien present. That night, Ethan and Olivia met privately to discuss what had happened. "Did you see how they reacted when Kravdul collapsed?" Olivia asked. "They were scared," Ethan nodded. "They didn't want you anywhere near him. They're hiding something." "I think it's our environment," Olivia said. "They kept adjusting their suits. They seemed uncomfortable from the moment they arrived." "You think Earth is dangerous to them?" Ethan asked. "I think something about Earth is affecting them physically. Maybe our air, our gravity, something in our environment that we take for granted. But they're advanced enough for space travel. Wouldn't they check if our planet was safe for them?" "Maybe they did," Olivia said. "But maybe they didn't expect to be so sensitive to our environment. Or maybe they didn't want to admit their weakness." The next day, the Ardelians requested a tour of Earth's major cities. They wanted to see human civilization up close, but they insisted on wearing their environmental suits at all times. As they prepared for the tour, Ethan received a message from his superiors. Intelligence agencies had intercepted communications between the alien ships. They couldn't translate most of it, but they understood one phrase that was repeated several times. More difficult than expected. Ethan looked out the window at the alien shuttle. The Ardelians had come to Earth with their amazing technology and superior knowledge. They acted confident and powerful. But now he wondered if they had a weakness they weren't sharing. Maybe Earth itself was more dangerous to them than they had expected. He smiled to himself. If these aliens thought they could come to Earth and push humans around, they might be in for a surprise. "Welcome to Earth," he thought. "Try not to die too fast." Chief of Security Nicole Winters sat in a dark room, surrounded by screens. Each screen showed a different alien device that had been placed around the city. Her team had been tracking these devices for days, taking pictures without touching them. "Play the recording again," she said to her assistant. The screen in front of her showed an Ardelian placing a small oval object on a building. The alien pressed some buttons and the device changed color slightly, blending in with its surroundings. "They've put over 50 of these things in this city alone," her assistant said. "And we've found similar devices in every major city around the world." Nicole leaned forward. "And we still don't know what they do?" "Not exactly. They seem to be scanning and recording data, but we can't tell what kind of data." The door opened and Commander Ethan Wright walked in. He looked tired. He hadn't slept much since the dinner disaster 3 days ago. "Any progress?" he asked. Nicole shook her head. "Not enough. We know they're collecting information, but not what they plan to do with it." Ethan sat down heavily. Dr. Bennett's Ardelian contact, Krasnar, sent another message. According to him, there's a split in their leadership. Some want to continue peaceful talks. Others are pushing for something called environmental modification. "What does that mean?" Nicole asked. "We're not sure, but it doesn't sound good." At that moment, one of Nicole's team members rushed in. "Ma'am, we've intercepted a transmission from the Ardelian fleet. Our computers translated part of it." He handed her a tablet. Nicole and Ethan read the message together. "Initial assessment complete. Planet resources match expectations, but biological hazards exceed acceptable levels. Recommend proceeding with option 3, targeted removal of hazardous elements before main settlement begins." Ethan looked up. "Targeted removal? Are they talking about humans? Or parts of our ecosystem?" Nicole said. "Either way, they're not here just for friendly talks." Ethan stood up. "I need to speak with High Commander Zixtara immediately." Getting a meeting with the Ardelian leader wasn't easy. The aliens had become more isolated since the dinner incident. They now refused to meet in any building that wasn't thoroughly cleaned and filtered to their specifications. Finally, Zixtara agreed to meet Ethan in a special clean room that had been set up for the aliens. When Ethan arrived, he found the High Commander sitting alone without the usual guards. "Commander Wright," the alien said through the translator. "I did not expect to see you today." Ethan didn't waste time with pleasantries. "We know about the devices your people have placed in our cities. We know they're not atmospheric monitors." Zixtara was silent for a moment. "You are more observant than we expected. We also know about option 3. Targeted removal of hazardous elements. Are you planning to attack us?" The alien's large black eyes blinked slowly. "Not attack. Prepare. Your world has resources we need. But as you know, many aspects of Earth are deadly to my kind. So you're planning to change our planet to suit yourselves? We have done this before, on other worlds." Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. Other inhabited worlds? Some were inhabited by primitive species, none as advanced as humans. Zixtara stood up. "We had hoped to handle this diplomatically, perhaps negotiate for certain regions of your planet that we could modify for our use, but now I see that may not be possible." "It's definitely not possible," Ethan said firmly. "Earth belongs to humans, and the species that evolved here. We won't let you change it to suit your biology." Then we have reached an impasse. The alien pressed a button on its suit. "This meeting is over." As Ethan left the building, he called Dr. Bennett. "The situation is worse than we thought. The Ardelians have modified other planets for their use. They want to do the same to Earth." "That confirms what Krasnar told me," Olivia replied. "But there's more. He's been working with me on a project. I think you should come to my lab right away." When Ethan arrived at the lab, he found Olivia working with the Ardelian scientist. Krasnar had removed parts of the environmental suit, revealing more of the blue skin underneath. The alien was wearing what looked like a simplified version of the suit. "What's going on here?" Ethan asked. "We've been trying to develop a better environmental suit," Olivia explained. "One that would protect the Ardelians from Earth's environment without them having to modify our planet." Krasnar nodded. "This prototype allows me to breathe your air for short periods. It filters out the nitrogen compounds that damage our respiratory systems. The problem is that it's bulky and limited," Olivia added. "It can't protect them from everything that's harmful on Earth. They would still need controlled environments for long-term stays." "And that's not acceptable to your leaders?" Ethan asked Krasnar. The alien looked down. "Some of our leaders are impatient. They see Earth as a perfect new homeworld. Right size, right distance from your sun, right gravity. They don't want to live in bubbles or wear suits. They want to walk freely on this world. Even if that means removing what makes Earth dangerous to them?" Ethan asked. "Including us?" "I have tried to argue for coexistence," Krasnar said, "but after the recent deaths, many are now supporting High Commander Zixtara's more aggressive approach." Ethan's phone rang. It was General Crawford. "Turn on the news," the general said without greeting. "Now." Olivia turned on a screen in the lab. The news showed live footage of an Ardelian ship, not one of the big ships in orbit, but a smaller vessel, hovering over a small town in the Midwest. "They've broken the agreement," General Crawford's voice said through the phone. "No alien ships were supposed to enter atmosphere without permission." As they watched, the ship fired something at the town below. It wasn't an explosion, but a strange mist that spread over the area. "What is that?" Ethan asked Krasnar. The alien stepped back, clearly shocked. "It's a biological agent. It breaks down organic material that's harmful to us. Plants, microorganisms, certain chemicals." "Will it hurt people?" Olivia asked urgently. "It's not designed to, but I don't know how it will interact with human biology." General Crawford's voice was hard. "We're treating this as an attack. I've ordered our forces to respond." On the screen, they saw military jets approaching the alien ship. Missiles fired. The alien ship tried to evade but was hit. It didn't explode but began to fall slowly toward the ground, trailing smoke. Krasnar made a sound of distress. "This will start a war we don't want." "Then help us stop it," Ethan said, "and come with me to speak to your leaders. We need to find a solution before this gets worse." The alien hesitated, then nodded. I will try. But you must understand, my people are desperate. Our home system is dying. We need a new world, and planets like Earth are rare. Then let's find a way for both our species to survive, Ethan said. But changing Earth to kill its native life isn't the answer. As they hurried to arrange an emergency meeting with the Ardelian leadership, reports came in of more alien ships entering Earth's atmosphere. The standoff was escalating quickly, and time was running out to prevent a full-scale war between humans and the visitors from space who found Earth both perfect and deadly. The situation was bad and getting worse. 3 Ardelian ships had been shot down after they released the strange mist over small towns. The biggest Ardelian ship in orbit had moved to a lower position, hovering over a major city as if preparing to attack. General Alan Crawford stood in the war room, surrounded by screens showing the positions of Earth's defense forces and the alien ships. His face was grim. "We've moved our missile defense systems into position," he told Ethan. "If their main ship moves any lower or shows signs of attacking, we're ready to respond." "A war with the Ardelians would be devastating," Ethan said. "Their technology is far beyond ours." "Maybe, but they have a weakness we don't have. Earth itself is toxic to them. They can't fight without those suits, and we've seen how fragile those suits are." Dr. Olivia Bennett rushed into the room, followed by Krasnar. The Ardelian scientist was wearing the improved environmental suit they had been working on. It looked less bulky than the standard Ardelian suits, but still covered the alien from head to toe. "We have a proposal," Olivia said. "A way to end this before it becomes a full-scale war." Krasnar stepped forward. "I have spoken with others in our fleet who wish for peace. There is another option besides modifying Earth or going to war." "We're listening," Ethan said. "Your solar system has other bodies that would be easier to modify for our needs. Your moon, your planet Mars, even some of the larger moons of your outer planets. They don't have the complex ecosystems that make Earth so dangerous to us, General." Crawford looked skeptical. "Why would your leaders agree to that when they've set their sights on Earth?" "Because a war would be costly for both sides," Krasnar replied. "And because I believe I can convince them that modifying lifeless worlds would be easier than trying to change Earth." "How do we know this isn't a trick?" Crawford asked. "You don't," the alien admitted. "But consider the alternative." On the main screen, they could see the Ardelian mothership still hovering over the city. Millions of people were at risk. "We need to talk to High Commander Zixtara directly," Ethan said. "Face to face." "That won't be easy," Krasnar warned. "Since your attack on our ships, security has been increased. No humans are allowed on our vessels." "Then we'll need to bring Zixtara to us," Olivia suggested. "Somewhere safe for both sides." They decided on a meeting place, a small island in the middle of a lake. It was isolated enough to be secure, but open enough that neither side could easily set a trap. Both sides would bring only a small team. As their helicopter approached the island, Ethan looked out at the calm water of the lake. "Remember, no sudden movements, and don't mention salt water or anything else we know is toxic to them unless absolutely necessary." "Do you think they'll really agree to leave Earth alone?" Nicole Winters asked. "If we can convince them it's in their best interest, yes," Ethan replied. "They're logical beings even if they are desperate." The helicopter landed on the small island. Minutes later, an Ardelian shuttle landed nearby. High Commander Zixtara emerged, along with 3 other aliens. They all wore their full environmental suits. The 2 groups met in the middle of the island under the open sky. No weapons were visible, but everyone knew both sides were ready for trouble. "This situation has gone too far," Ethan began. "Innocent people have been hurt by your biological agents, and 3 of our ships have been destroyed by your weapons," Zixtara countered. "Did you call this meeting to make accusations or to find a solution?" "A solution," Ethan said firmly. "We know why you came to Earth. You need a new homeworld because your star system is dying. But Earth can never be that home for you. It's naturally toxic to your biology." Zixtara was silent for a moment. "We have the technology to change that." "At what cost? Destroying the very ecosystem that makes this planet valuable? Killing the native species, including humans?" Even if you succeeded, Earth would no longer be the world you wanted. Krasnar stepped forward. Hi, Commander. I have been working with the humans on an alternative. Their solar system has other worlds, lifeless worlds, that would be much easier to adapt to our needs. Lifeless rocks, you mean? One of the other aliens said dismissively. No, Olivia joined in. Mars has water beneath its surface. It has all the basic elements you would need. With your technology, you could transform it much more easily than you could change Earth, and you wouldn't face resistance from an entire planet of beings who have evolved to live here. The moon is even closer, Ethan added. You could establish bases there immediately. We would be neighbors, trading partners, not enemies fighting over the same space. Zixtara looked at the other aliens, then back at the humans. You would allow us to settle these other worlds in your system? Yes, Ethan said. With proper agreements about territories and resources, it would benefit both our species. And in exchange, you leave Earth as it is. No more biological agents, no more attempts to modify our environment. The aliens spoke, among themselves in their own language. The humans waited tensely. Finally, Zixtara turned back to them. Your proposal has merit. A war would be costly, and as you say, changing Earth to suit our biology would destroy much of what makes it valuable. Then you agree? Ethan asked. In principle, yes. We will need to work out the details, but I will order our ships to withdraw to a higher orbit as a sign of good faith. Relief washed over the human delegation. It wasn't a final agreement yet, but it was a start. Over the next few weeks, humans and Ardelians worked together on plans for alien settlements on Mars and the Moon. Scientists from both species shared knowledge about how to create habitats that would be safe for the Ardelians, protected from Earth's biological materials. Dr. Bennett continued working with Krasnar on improved environmental suits. These would allow the Ardelians to visit Earth safely for short periods, for diplomatic meetings and scientific exchanges. 1 month after the tense standoff, Ethan visited the first Ardelian base on the Moon. Through a thick window, he could see Ardelians moving freely, without their environmental suits. They had created an atmosphere inside the base that matched their home world. It's strange, Olivia said, as she stood beside him, looking through the window. With all their advanced technology, the one thing they couldn't overcome was basic biology. Earth's simple life forms, our plants, our bacteria, even our water, were more effective defenses than any weapon we could have built. It's a good reminder, Ethan replied. Technology isn't everything. Sometimes the greatest strength is simply being adapted to your environment. On the other side of the window, High Commander Zixtara approached and made a gesture of greeting. The alien's blue skin looked healthier here, in an environment adjusted to Ardelian biology. I must admit, Zixtara said through a communication system, when we first came to your solar system, we saw humans as primitive beings on a desirable world. We did not expect to find such resilience. Earth shaped us, just as your world shaped your people, Ethan said. We belong there, just as you will make a home here. A hard lesson for a spacefaring species to learn, the alien commander admitted, but perhaps a necessary one. As Ethan looked out at the stars visible through the dome of the lunar base, he thought about how close they had come to war, and how simple the solution had been in the end. The aliens had traveled across the galaxy with incredible technology, only to be stopped by the simple fact that they couldn't breathe Earth's air or touch its soil without getting sick. Sometimes, he thought, the best defense was simply being at home in your world. And for any future aliens thinking of conquering Earth, the message was clear. Welcome to Earth. Try not to die too fast. The ballroom of the Grand Hotel was decorated with flags from all nations. Important people from around the world had gathered for the first official dinner with the Ardelians. Men wore black suits, women wore elegant dresses, and the aliens wore their environmental suits, now decorated with colorful symbols that matched their rank. Commander Ethan Wright watched the room carefully. After what Dr. Bennett had told him about Earth being toxic to the aliens, he was more alert than ever. The Ardelians moved through the crowd talking to world leaders and scientists, but they did not remove their helmets or gloves even for a moment. "They haven't touched any food," Olivia whispered to him as she passed by with a glass of water. "Not even to be polite." "Would you eat food from an alien planet that might kill you?" Ethan replied. Olivia nodded toward a small group of Ardelians who stood apart from the others. "Those three have been talking among themselves all evening. They keep looking at the human food like it's dangerous." One of those aliens was junior diplomat Laxven, who had been friendly to humans since the Ardelians arrived. Laxven seemed to be arguing with the others. Finally, the alien broke away from the group and approached the buffet table. A waiter offered Laxven a small plate of Earth delicacies. "Would you like to try some of our food, sir? This is a selection of our finest dishes." The other guests fell silent, watching. Even High Commander Zixtara turned to look. Laxven hesitated, then pressed a button on the environmental suit. The lower part of the helmet slid open, revealing the alien's small mouth. "I would be honored to taste human food," the alien said. The waiter smiled and held out the plate. Laxven picked up something small, a bite of cheese on a cracker, and put it into his mouth. For a moment, nothing happened. The alien's expression was unreadable to human eyes. Then Laxven made a strange sound, and blue fluid began to leak from the corners of the alien's mouth. High Commander Zixtara rushed forward, shouting something in the Ardelian language. Two other aliens grabbed Laxven, who was now shaking violently. They carried their colleague from the room as humans watched in shock. Within minutes, two more Ardelians who had been standing near Laxven also began to show signs of distress. They collapsed to the floor, their bodies twisting in pain. "Everyone back away," Dr. Bennett shouted. "Give them space." The remaining Ardelians worked frantically to help their fallen comrades. They injected them with devices from their medical kits and carried them quickly to their shuttle outside. Later that night, a message came from the Ardelian fleet. 3 diplomats had died. The aliens claimed they had been poisoned. Ethan, Olivia, and General Alan Crawford met in a secure room to discuss the crisis. "This is ridiculous," General Crawford said, his face red with anger. "We didn't poison anyone. Their diplomat ate our food willingly." "They know that," Olivia said quietly. "But they need someone to blame. The truth that ordinary Earth food is deadly to them is too embarrassing. Either way, this is now a diplomatic disaster," Ethan said. "They're demanding access to our military installations as a show of trust." General Crawford slammed his fist on the table. "Absolutely not. We may not have a choice," Ethan replied. "Their ships are still in orbit. If they decide to attack—" "Let them try," Crawford interrupted. "Maybe Earth's environment will kill them before they can kill us." In the end, they agreed to allow a limited tour of some military facilities. General Crawford put Chief of Security Nicole Winters in charge of the tour. Her orders were clear: show the aliens what they needed to see, but protect Earth's most important secrets. The next day, Nicole led High Commander Zixtara and 5 other Ardelians through a naval base on the coast. The aliens showed great interest in human weapons and defense systems. "Your technology is primitive compared to ours," Zixtara commented as they examined a missile defense system, "but ingenious in its simplicity." Nicole smiled tightly. "Sometimes simple is better." As they walked along the dock, a strong wind blew in from the ocean. A wave crashed against the pier, sending a spray of salt water into the air. Some droplets landed on one of the Ardelian officers. The effect was immediate and horrifying. "The bee!" Alien screamed, a high painful sound, and fell to the ground. Where the water had touched the environmental suit, the material began to dissolve, revealing blue skin underneath. The skin quickly turned black, as if burned by acid. The other Ardelians rushed to help, covering the damaged suit with a special paste from their medical kits. They carried their injured comrade back to their shuttle, ending the tour abruptly. Nicole immediately called Ethan and Dr. Bennett. "Salt water," she told them. "It eats through their suits and burns their skin. The ocean is like acid to them." At her lab, Dr. Bennett tested the report. She put a sample of Ardelian biological material, a piece of skin from an earlier medical incident, into salt water. The skin dissolved within seconds. Sodium chloride, she said to Ethan when he arrived. Regular table salt. It's deadly to them. So not only our food, but our oceans too, Ethan said. Earth is even more dangerous to them than we thought. Meanwhile, Greg Mason, a junior diplomat who had been assigned to assist the alien delegation, noticed something strange. The Ardelians had been placing small devices in and around Earth's major cities. They looked like scientific instruments, but Greg couldn't figure out what they were measuring. When he asked about them, the aliens said they were atmospheric monitors to help them adjust their environmental suits. But Greg didn't believe them. He reported his concerns to his superiors. Keep watching them, his boss told him. But don't let them know you're suspicious. We need to find out what they're really doing here. That evening, the Ardelian High Command called an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. The mood was tense. We have been patient, Zixtara said. We have suffered injuries and deaths while trying to establish peaceful relations with your species. But now we must speak plainly. The alien leader's voice was cold through the translator. Your world is naturally hostile to our biology in ways we did not anticipate, yet we still wish to establish relations. To do so, we need certain accommodations. What kind of accommodations? General Crawford asked, his eyes narrowed. Controlled environments where we can move freely without our protective suits, areas where Earth's natural elements are removed or neutralized. You want us to change our environment for you? Someone asked. Only in limited areas, Zixtara replied. For now. The words for now hung in the air, heavy with hidden meaning. Earth's leaders exchanged worried glances. As the meeting continued, Dr. Bennett received an urgent message. She slipped out of the room to take the call. It was Krasnar, the Ardelian scientist who had spoken to her earlier. I must warn you, the alien said, voice shaking. Not all of my people are here for peaceful reasons. Some see Earth as a prize, to be taken, despite its dangers to us. What are you saying? Olivia asked. The devices your diplomat noticed. They're not atmospheric monitors. They're scanning for weaknesses in your defenses. Some of our leaders are considering more aggressive options. Why are you telling me this? Olivia asked. Because some of us believe there can be peace between our worlds. But that peace is now in danger. After Krasnar ended the call, Olivia stood still for a long moment. Then she hurried back to the meeting. She needed to warn Ethan. The Ardelians might be planning something dangerous, and Earth needed to be ready. Captain Lisa Rodriguez checked her watch for the third time in 5 minutes. The Ardelian delegation was late. They were supposed to meet at the entrance to Yellowstone National Park 30 minutes ago, but there was still no sign of their shuttle. Maybe. They changed their minds, said her colleague, Lieutenant John Parker. Lisa shook her head. The aliens specifically asked to see this place. They were very interested in Earth's natural environments. A park ranger approached them. Any word from our visitors? Not yet, Lisa replied. But their ships are still in orbit, so they haven't left. Just as she finished speaking, a shuttle appeared in the sky. It was smaller than the one that had first brought the aliens to Earth, but it had the same smooth silver design. It landed in the empty parking lot, stirring up dust. The shuttle door opened, and 4 Ardelians stepped out. They wore their environmental suits, but these ones looked different. They were thicker, with more devices attached. Their helmets now completely covered their heads with dark visors hiding their faces. High Commander Zixtara led the group. Captain Rodriguez, we apologize for our delay. We needed to adjust our protective equipment. Lisa smiled politely. No problem at all. We're honored that you want to see one of Earth's most beautiful natural areas. We are scientists at heart, Zixtara said. Your planet has unique biological features we wish to study. The tour group set off along the main trail. The park ranger explained about the geysers, the wildlife, and the forest. The Ardelians recorded everything with small devices they held in their lower hands, while their upper hands gestured as they spoke among themselves. They stopped at a meadow full of wildflowers. The colors were bright in the morning sun. Purple, yellow, and white blooms covered the ground. One of the Ardelians, who had been introduced as Science Officer Merector, moved closer to examine a patch of flowers. Even though the alien's face was hidden behind the visor, Lisa could tell Merector was fascinated. "May I touch one?" the alien asked through the translator. "Of course," the park ranger said. "Just please stay on the path." Merector carefully reached out with one long blue finger and touched a yellow flower. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the alien jerked back suddenly, making a high-pitched sound that the translator didn't convert. "What's wrong?" Lisa asked, stepping forward. Zixtara moved between them. "Nothing to concern yourself with. Merector is simply surprised by the texture." But Lisa could see the alien scientist holding its hand as if in pain. The blue skin visible around the glove was turning a darker shade, almost purple. The group continued walking, but Merector stayed at the back, still examining the affected hand. Lisa fell back to walk beside the alien. "Are you sure you're okay?" she asked quietly. The alien hesitated. "Your plants have unexpected properties. My skin had a reaction to the contact." "You mean you're having an allergic reaction? To a daisy? Our biology is different from yours. What is harmless to you may not be harmless to us." Before they could talk more, the group reached Old Faithful Geyser. A crowd of tourists was already gathered, waiting for the eruption. This geyser erupts approximately every 90 minutes, the park ranger explained. It can shoot water up to 185 feet into the air. The Ardelians stood at a safe distance, their recording devices ready. When the geyser erupted, sending hot water and steam high into the air, the aliens stepped back even further. The wind shifted, blowing some of the steam toward them. Another alien, Security Officer Vrenda, suddenly began making choking sounds. The alien doubled over, hands at its throat area. Zixtara and the others quickly surrounded their colleague. "What's happening?" John Parker asked. "Is it the steam?" The aliens didn't answer. They half-carried Vrenda back toward their shuttle, moving quickly. Lisa and John followed them. "We have medical facilities here in the park," Lisa called. "We can help." "No human medicine can help," Zixtara said firmly. "We must return to our ship." As the aliens hurried away, Lisa noticed something fall from Science Officer Merector's equipment belt. After the shuttle took off, she went to pick it up. It was a small container like a test tube, but made of a clear material Lisa didn't recognize. Inside was a piece of the yellow flower Merector had touched. "They're collecting samples," she said to John. "Why would they need to do that secretly?" "We would have given them permission." "I don't know, but I think we should have this analyzed." Later that day, as Lisa was filing her report about the strange incident, John burst into her office. "You need to see this," he said, putting his tablet in front of her. It showed security footage from a different part of the park. Two Ardelians, not from the tour group, were moving through the forest. They were collecting leaves, soil samples, and even catching small insects in containers. "When was this?" Lisa asked. "This morning, while we were with the official delegation. They're taking samples all over the park, not just where we went." Lisa frowned. "They must be really interested in our biology. Or they're looking for something specific," John suggested. "Something they don't want us to know about." That evening, Dr. Olivia Bennett was working late in her lab when she received an unexpected visitor. It was Krasnar, one of the Ardelian scientists who had not been part of the Yellowstone tour. "I need to speak with you," the alien said, looking around nervously. In private, Olivia led Krasnar to her office and closed the door. "What's this about?" "I am a biologist," the alien explained. "I study how different life forms interact. What happened today in your park? It confirms what some of us have feared." "Which is what?" "Your Earth is poisonous to us." The alien's large black eyes blinked rapidly. Not immediately, not obviously, but in many small ways that add up. Olivia leaned forward. "The plants caused allergic reactions?" "Not just the plants. Your air, your water, many common elements in your environment. The nitrogen-oxygen mix you breathe corrodes our respiratory systems over time. The pollen in your air causes immune responses. Even your soil contains compounds that damage our skin. Is that why your delegation left so suddenly today? Krasnar nodded. Security Officer Vrenda inhaled water vapor from the geyser. It contained sulfur compounds that are severely toxic to our kind. Why are you telling me this? Because I believe in scientific honesty, and because... The alien hesitated. Some of my colleagues are not handling this discovery well. They expected Earth to be more compatible with our biology. They are disappointed. Disappointed enough to do what? The alien stood up. I have said too much already. I came only to help you understand why we seem so cautious, why we keep our distance. After Krasnar left, Olivia immediately called Commander Ethan Wright. She told him everything the alien had said. So Earth itself is toxic to them, Ethan said. That explains their behavior, the environmental suits, the sudden departures. It also explains why they're collecting biological samples secretly, Olivia added. They're trying to figure out what exactly is harmful to them. The question is, what will they do with that information? Neither of them had an answer, but both felt a growing unease. The Ardelians had come to Earth with superior technology and knowledge, but now it seemed that humans had an unexpected advantage. They were perfectly adapted to live on Earth, while the aliens were not. As night fell, the Ardelian ships glowed, softly in orbit, visible from the ground like new stars. On board those ships, the aliens were learning a hard lesson. Technological superiority didn't always translate to biological compatibility. Earth might look like just another planet to conquer or explore, but its very nature was proving to be humanity's first line of defense.